Most people don't stay broke because they earn too little. They stay broke because of credit cards, shopping habits, subscriptions, and small daily spending. These things feel normal, but over time, they quietly drain money away. And the worst part is this: most people don't even realize these traps exist until years have passed. So today we're breaking down 7 of the biggest money traps keeping people poor, explained simply, with practical ideas you can start using right away. Trap 1 is lifestyle inflation. Your income goes up, your expenses rise too, but your savings stay flat. On the surface, it looks like progress. You earn more, so you spend more. A better phone, a lifestyle upgrade, a bigger apartment, more convenience in everyday life, and none of it feels irresponsible. In fact, it feels deserved. But here's the problem. As your lifestyle improves, your costs quietly increase with it. So even though you're earning more money, you're not actually moving forward financially. Meet Sarah. Sarah got a raise. Her income increased. Soon after, her spending followed. And even though she was making more than before, her savings stayed exactly the same. She's always moving, always upgrading, always busy, but she's never really getting ahead. This happens because humans adapt quickly. What once felt like a luxury slowly becomes normal. And once it feels normal, it no longer feels optional. That's lifestyle inflation. So how do you escape it? You split every raise. Half goes toward improving your life today, and half goes towards saving or investing for tomorrow. You still enjoy your progress, but you protect your future at the same time. That balance is what actually builds wealth. This is lifestyle inflation. It feels like success, but if you're not careful, it quietly keeps you stuck. Trap 2 is minimum payments. Credit cards don't really trap you through spending. They trap you through minimum payments. At first, it looks easy. The payment feels small, manageable, almost harmless. But that's exactly the trap. You make the minimum payment, and your balance barely drops. Meanwhile, interest starts stacking every single day. Time keeps passing, but instead of moving forward, your debt keeps growing. This is compounding working against you. You're not just paying interest on what you borrowed. You're paying interest on last month's interest. 1 month goes by, then 12 months, then 36. And before you realize it, years have passed, and you're still paying for the same purchase. That's why minimum payments are so dangerous. They don't feel painful, but they keep you stuck. To escape this trap, you need a different approach. You can use the avalanche method, attacking the highest interest debt first, or the snowball method, paying off smaller balances to build momentum. Both are far better than paying the minimum. No matter which method you choose, one rule always applies. Always pay more than the minimum. Trap 3 is impulse spending. It usually starts small. A coffee here, a food delivery there, maybe one quick online order because it was on sale. None of it feels like a big deal. The price is low, the purchase is instant, and you get a tiny rush of excitement every time. But here's what makes impulse spending dangerous. It doesn't happen once. It repeats, day after day, week after week. And because each purchase is small, you never really question it, until one day you look back and realize a huge chunk of your money quietly disappeared. This happens because impulse buying triggers dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. Your brain learns, I spend money, I feel good, so it keeps pushing you to buy again. Companies know this. That's why shopping apps use bright buttons, one-click payments, and constant notifications. They are designed to make spending feel effortless. So how do you fight back? The simplest way is the 24-hour rule. If you want to buy something, don't say no. Just say, I'll decide tomorrow. Most of the time, the excitement disappears and you realize you didn't really want it. You were just chasing the feeling. You can also delete shopping apps, turn off promotional notifications, and give yourself a small, fun budget so you can spend guilt-free, but with limits. When you learn to control the small purchases, you gain control over your entire financial life. Trap 4 is subscription overload. It usually starts with just one subscription, then another, and then one more. And before you realize it, there are several quietly renewing every single month. Subscriptions are designed to be forgotten. You set them up once, and they continue charging automatically in the background, whether you use them or not. That's why they become a silent money leak. Most people think they pay far less than they actually do, but when they finally check their statements, the real number is almost always much higher. The fix is simple. Review all your subscriptions, cancel the ones you don't use, and keep only the ones that truly add value to your life. For the services you actually use, paying annually can often save money compared to monthly plans. Subscriptions themselves aren't bad. Forgetting about them is. Trap 5 is not having an emergency fund. Without savings, every unexpected expense becomes a crisis. A medical bill, a car repair, a broken laptop, or even a sudden job loss. And instead of paying cash, you turn to credit cards or loans. That's how people get stuck in debt. A small emergency that costs a few $100s can quickly grow into something much more expensive once interest gets involved. And it keeps happening because life is unpredictable. There will always be another emergency. Most people skip building an emergency fund because they think they'll figure it out later, or they believe saving is slow and boring. But when something finally goes wrong, they realize how important it really was. The solution is to start small. Build a starter emergency fund of $300 to $500. Once you have that, aim for 1 month of expenses, then slowly work your way up to 3 to 6 months. It doesn't need to happen overnight. Consistency matters more than speed. And when you have an emergency fund, you don't just protect your money, you protect your peace of mind. Trap 6 is not tracking your spending. If you don't track your money, you're guessing, and most people guess wrong. People regularly underestimate how much they spend on food, transportation, subscriptions, and little impulse purchases. They think they're pretty good with money until they finally look at the real numbers. Someone might believe they spend $100 on eating out, but in reality it's closer to $300. Another person thinks they only spend a little on small stuff, but those small things quietly add up. When you don't know where your money is going, you can't control it, and you can't fix it. The good news is, you don't need a complicated system. Just track every expense for 7 days, not a month, just 1 week. By the end of that week, you'll immediately see patterns. Too many snacks, random app purchases, extra subscriptions, unnecessary fees. And once you finally see the truth, your spending decisions start changing automatically. Because awareness creates control. Trap 7 is not having a budget. A lot of people avoid budgeting because it feels restrictive. They think it means cutting everything fun out of life, or they assume it's only for people who are struggling with money. But in reality, the opposite is true. A budget isn't about limiting yourself. It's simply a plan. It tells your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. Without a budget, money slips away on little things. And at the end of the month, there's nothing left and no idea why. With a budget, every dollar has a purpose, and you feel in control instead of confused. Wealthy people don't budget because they're broke. They budget because they respect their money and want to make intentional choices. And budgeting doesn't have to be complicated. You can start with something as simple as the 50-30-20 rule, where part of your money covers needs, part covers wants, and the rest goes to saving and investing. Or you can try zero-based budgeting, where every dollar is assigned a job before you spend it. Some people even use digital envelopes to separate money into different categories automatically. It doesn't matter which method you choose. What matters is that you actually use one. Because once you have a budget, you gain clarity, confidence, and direction over your financial life. Let's quickly recap the 7 money traps. Lifestyle inflation, minimum payments, and impulse spending. Then subscriptions, having no emergency fund, and not tracking your spending. And finally, not having a budget to guide your money. Each of these might seem small on its own, but together they quietly hold people back for years. Fix even one of these, and you'll start noticing real progress. Fix all 7, and your entire financial life can look completely different. If you want to start, begin with a simple budget. So if this helped, make sure to subscribe. And let's keep making money simple, one step at a time.